September 11th, 2001 will always be remembered as a series of senseless tragedies. Media agencies across the world have presented poignant images and heartbreaking stories of the lives lost and the families shattered through that day. The attacks pushed us into a grueling war where hundreds of American military members made the ultimate sacrifice to protect our security. After 9/11, a new set of fears began to envelop the American people. Listing the extent of the tragedy is mind-boggling. In just 2 hours, both towers of the World Trade Center had collapsed, a large section of the Pentagon was destroyed, and a field in Pennsylvania became a growing ball of smoke and debris. 2,753 people died at the World Trade Center, 184 at the Pentagon, 40 on Flight 93, for a total of 2,996 deaths on just that day. This number, of course, does not include the lives lost in the last 20 years due to some result of the attacks in our country and the battles beyond our shores. The pile of debris left behind at each of the crash sites on September 11 created plumes of gray, health-threatening ash and smoke. Our country and multiple families have experienced emotional piles of ashes in the last 20 years. But Isaiah 61:3 says that God gives beauty out of ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. One way God fills us with praise is to remind us of His strength in human weakness. Even the events of September 11th can show us that our trust must not be in human monuments, but in our all-powerful God. Our ultimate defense will not come from military tactics, but from the hand of God Himself. Psalm 18:2, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation, and my high tower." Lisa Beamer is the widow of one of the passengers aboard Flight 93 that crashed in the field in Pennsylvania on September 11th. She wrote a gospel tract about that experience, and in that tract she says, "The World Trade Center represented economic power, success, and security, yet it was shaken and destroyed in 1 hour or less. The Pentagon is a symbol of the nation's military might, yet it too proved vulnerable. Where can we find true security these days? I have found safety and security in a loving Heavenly Father who cannot be shaken, who will never leave me or forsake me, and in whom I can trust completely. For those looking for hope, I recommend grabbing the hand of your Heavenly Father as tightly as possible, like a little child does with his parent." In the midst of the tragedies surrounding September 11th, or other devastation of our own lives, we must remember that God changes our tragedy into triumph as we rest and depend on Him, our high tower.